A man wanted by authorities in at least 5 states is serving a year and a day in the North Dakota penitentiary. 30-year-old Jeremy Bloom was arrested last November after a car chase and standoff with police in the North Dakota city of Jamestown. KQDJ radio reports that he pleaded guilty last month to felony reckless endangerment and being a felon in possession of a firearm. He also pleaded guilty to 4 misdemeanors, including fleeing from police and possession of marijuana. Stutzman County prospector Ashley Hitkamp says Bloom likely will be transferred to South Dakota after he serves his North Dakota prison time. Bloom has been indicted in South Dakota in connection with thefts and burglaries in Lemon area last fall. Wyoming, Nebraska, and Colorado also have warrants out for him. The continuing strife in Egypt has taken the life of 1 more man and injured another 72 people. The man who died of a gunshot wound was part of a protesting group that has been clashing with authorities near the ministry building for 5 days now. The conflict has left 13 people dead and more than 2,500 injured. The protests, which are in response to the deadly soccer riot in Port Said last Wednesday that left more than 80 people dead as rivals fans battled with rocks and chairs, and those trying to escape were met by a locked gate. 120 members of Egypt's parliament called for Interior Minister Mohammed Ibrahim to be tried on charges that he failed to properly handle the riot, making him responsible for the deaths. In an executive order, President Obama has frozen all Iranian government assets held or traded in the U.S. The new sanctions give American institutions the power to freeze assets related to the Central Bank of Iran, instead of just turning them back. The sanctions, which are a response to the growing concerns held by Israel and the West in regards to Iran's nuclear program, which is suspected to be developing nuclear weapons. Iran will face ever-increasing economic and diplomatic pressures until it answers the international community's well-founded and well-documented concerns about its nuclear program, said the U.S. Treasury. NASA has told the European Space Agency, or ESA, that it is now highly unlikely it will be able to contribute to the joint missions to Mars. The ExoMars missions, as it has been called, would look to launch an orbiting satellite in 2016 to search for methane and other trace gases in the Martian atmosphere, followed by a rover launching in 2018 to drill beneath the planet's surface. NASA's pullout is suspected to be due to budget concerns, but as no official statement has been made, this is pure speculation. As for the mission, ESA is now looking towards Russia to keep the mission alive. Super Bowl weekend was one that brought us some amazing weather, with temperatures peaking close to 50 and with the sun coming out. It was quite beautiful. The question though, will this continue? Jessica Gulseth has our answers. Jessica?
Thanks, JT. Today was a little chilly, although the high was 29, almost 30 degrees. Last week and even this past weekend's astonishing 40 and 50 degree temperatures kind of made today seem cold. And if you thought today was cold, brace yourself. Tonight we're looking at a low of 17 degrees. Yeah, at first that's no big deal, but this is also the high for tomorrow. And then it only gets colder. Tomorrow's overnight low will be -1 degrees. Wednesday we'll get another day like today, a quick little warm up, about 29 degrees for the high with clear skies, and the overnight low will be about 14 degrees. So much warmer than tomorrow night's temperatures. Thursday, a high in the low 20s, and as the sun drops, we'll see a drop in temperatures, as usual, and the low will sink into the single digits. Friday, temperatures in the upper teens with a low in the single digits once again. Saturday, a slight warm-up, as we can expect a high in the upper 20s, possibly seeing a high in the 30s. I hope you didn't put the hats and mittens away just yet. You may want them. A colder week is ahead. That's the weather for today, Jamestown. Now back to you, JT.
Thanks, Jessica. Mitt Romney's front-running campaign on Monday criticized trailing rival Rick Santorum for remarks about Romney's health care plan in Massachusetts. Showing concern, the conservative Santorum might be poised for a strong showing in this week's Republican presidential contest. The GOP hopefuls face caucuses in Minnesota and Colorado on Tuesday, along with non-binding primary in Missouri. On Saturday, Maine wraps up its caucuses, followed by a break until February 22nd. debates on CNN and February 28th primaries in Arizona and Michigan. Romney strengthened his leading status in the GOP presidential race with a solid victory Saturday in Nevada's caucus. It was his second straight triumph and his third in 5 contests so far, bolstering the perception that he may be unstoppable in his second bid for the Republican nomination. Santorum is competing with Newt Gingrich for the conservative support to try to halt Romney's momentum. He has campaigned hard in Minnesota and Missouri, a state where Gingrich failed to get on the ballot. A major element of Santorum's campaign has been his right-wing adherence of federal health care reform under President Barack Obama. Well, as we are all well aware, the Super Bowl took place this weekend. There was another type of football game, though. This one which involved former NFL players and the Wounded Warriors, which is made up of wounded veterans. This game, which took place ahead of the Super Bowl, was purely exhibition. For more on sports, though, we go now to Josh Berg. Josh?
Thank you, JT. The Jimmy men's wrestling team was in action this weekend, hosting the Jimmy Open. The Jimmies had 3 individuals placed, including Michael Nord, who was a tournament champion at 165 pounds. The Jimmies, who have yet to qualify for nationals, will have one more chance to qualify in the team's last appearance at Morningside College, February 18th. While you can chalk up 2 more victories for the men's and women's basketball teams, the Jimmies continue to impress while beating Dickinson State this past Saturday. It was extra special to see that win that night because most of the players' families came for the game for senior night. Well, she has done it again. Eliona Reyes has qualified for another national event. This time she qualified for the 800-meter run this weekend at Concordia. Reyes won the event with a time of 2 minutes 18 seconds. Maddie Horning was close behind her, but barely missed qualifying by 0.47 seconds. Well, that about does it for our weekend recap on sports, but if you didn't get to watch any TV last night, the Super Bowl was on and it was a good one. Like a good game should be, it came down to the final seconds, but Eli Manning and the Giants pulled it off with a score of 21-17. Great game and lots of good commercials. Well, that's it. If you want to read up on all of our sports, check out www.jccollegian and click the Athletics tab. Have a good evening. Back to you, JT.
Thanks, Josh. That about wraps up your news for Monday, February 6, 2012. I'm JT Petsch. Tune in tomorrow as we once again connect the campus with the community. Good night.